So how do you stay relational with God when life gets loud again? Because let's be honest, right? Like, life is a roller coaster. There will be financial pressure again, and there will sometimes be health scares and moments where someone says something that triggers your insecurity, and there will be delay in life, and there will be silence where it feels like you're praying, but you don't feel any sort of clarity or direction or reassurance. And those moments, we know, will come again. And when they do, the nervous system will sometimes respond to it. That's not any sort of spiritual flaw. That is the design. God created you with a nervous system. So you're embodied. You're not just a spirit that's floating around. And being human sometimes means that your brain will default to control when things feel unstable. And so the goal then is to understand that you're not supposed to become immune to transactional faith. You're not always going to be able to outgrow being triggered. The goal, though, is to just recognize it faster. And that alone is going to help you remove so much shame that you might be carrying. Because if you expect yourself to never slip back into performance mode, the second you do, your shame is going to double. And now you're not just stressed, you're disappointed in yourself for even being stressed. And so the first thing you have to anchor yourself in is that you have to interrupt transactional faith, not prevent it. Your default might show up again, meaning the pattern that your brain learned early on to feel safe. Some of us have the pattern of control, where you're going to tell yourself, well, if I improve, I'll be secure. Or if I fix it, then I'll be safe. And then the moment that pressure hits, your brain is going to try and protect you with that same strategy. But when you accept that we're human and that you're not failing spiritually, it becomes a lot easier to remove that shock factor. Because now you're not panicking about the fact that you're panicking. And what I've come to learn is that when you start listening to the language that's in your thoughts, you understand that transactional faith has a very specific tone. And it's the little things like, well, if I just do this, then maybe God is just waiting for me to do something. That's the shift. When you catch it, you have to label it like, oh, I'm trying to earn again. And the reason why naming it matters is because when you name a thought, you move it from automatic to intentional. If your worth feels like it's on the line, that's how you know you're in transaction mode. And that's when you separate then growth from identity. You can literally say, I can grow in this without earning anything. And what that does is it now keeps your growth a lot more practical without it tying to your value. You're allowed to improve your systems and build discipline and want to be better without believing that your standing with God rises and falls with it. The goal here is to re-anchor yourself in covenant, which literally means that God's posture towards you is not going to change based on your weekly performance. His posture is anchored, and it's steady, and it's not fragile. And so when you learn to re-anchor yourself, you're reminding yourself that you're not negotiating access because you already have it. You're not trying to get back into good standing with God because you're already held. And if you spiral and then attack yourself for spiraling, you're going to reinforce that fear loop that's in your brain. Shame activates the same threat circuitry as literal physical danger. And so when your self-talk sounds like crap, your body takes it as a threat. But if you switch it to, well, I slipped and I noticed and now I'm coming back, you're rewiring the association. Instead of stress to shame to more stress, it should be stress to awareness to return. That is how you reshape your neural pathways over time. You're teaching your brain that imperfection does not equal danger. And sometimes life is going to hit you so hard that you fall back into transaction again. But just know that formation, it's layered. Sometimes you're not going to be able to prevent the spiral, but you will recover a lot faster. That's progress. The part that I want you to understand today is that realizing you're in transactional faith can also create a second wave of shame, which is literally just performance wearing a different outfit. Shame about shame is still shame, but relationship with God always looks like return. You have to return again and again and again and again. This is not something that you just graduate from. It's something that you're going to have to grow through repeatedly. Growth doesn't mean that you just one day wake up and you're suddenly not triggered by certain things anymore. It doesn't mean that you're emotionally flawless and now certain things in life don't affect you. All it means is that you become more aware, and that will shorten the distance between spiral and return. And so no, you might not ever be 100% immune to transactional faith, but you can become someone who doesn't live there. And when you learn to recognize that, that's how it all changes.